teams that you don't expect to offer that big of a challenge have. So it's just that kind of year.
Number 22, Matt Howe, the junior forward, getting ready to tip off with Patrick Hopkins as we get this MCC action underway. Hopkins winning the tip, and Derek Troyer picking up the ball. He'll be guarded closely by number 12, Matt Van Pelt. The Cougars early on in this game in a man-to-man defense. Widener over on the right-hand side, dribbling to the center. Hopkins is open.
It will be a challenge down there for Hopkins all day with the size, matching size.
Matt Howe was able to successfully bounce the ball off of Hopkins so that Spring Arbor was able to get the ball. And so now number 12, Van Pelt, bringing the ball up against Derek Troyer. As we mentioned earlier, I want to keep an eye on number 5, Chris Bellamy, leading scorer not only on this team, but is also in the MCC, averaging close to 22 points a game. He's guarded closely by George Jones IV. Back over to Van Pelt, into number 23, Matt Caden. 4 seconds on the shot clock. He gets the ball off. Actually, it will be a 35-second shot clock violation as the ball did not hit the rim. So excellent defense for the Wildcats to start off this game. Troyer now bringing the ball up against Van Pelt. Van Pelt keeping a little pressure just to keep him honest. Widener now off to the left-hand side. Hopkins out at the top of the key, setting the pick. So far, defense for both teams doing an excellent job of keeping the teams outside. Widener driving in, he pulls up, takes a jumper, and it's good.
Whatever slump Widener might have been in earlier in the season, he certainly has gotten back.
Widener now the leading scorer for the Wildcats. Of course, having 2 games each with 25 points will definitely help the average. Patrick Hopkins, unfortunately, only 10 points in the last game against Huntington. Rob Hogan's going in, kicking it out to Van Pelt. Again, now 6 seconds on the shot clock. Hogan's having a hard time. 2 seconds. He takes a long three-pointer. No good. And Troyer comes up with it.
We've seen 2 defensive stands now, Mark, where I think it's clear the Wildcats are going to get out of every possession and try to stifle whatever it is Cougars are trying to do. They're very, very aggressive.
Foul was called to number 5, Chris Bellamy, his first, team first. 2-0, very early in this game. George Jones driving in on the left-hand side, and he loses the ball. Bellamy up fast, into Hogan's, and a nice layup.
The Cougars are going to match the Wildcats with speed, so if you make a mistake like that, they'll probably make you pay.
Hopkins down low, and it looks like the foul is going to get charged on number 22. It is Matt Howe. Not surprisingly, Howe, the leading rebounder on this team with almost 7 rebounds a game. Troyer tossing into Patrick Hopkins. Under mismatch, it was Bellamy on Hopkins.
So Wildcats will take that all day. If their center's going to get out of position, Patrick Hopkins will get right down there. Easy bucket.
Van Pelt bringing the ball up now, off to Hogan's. Wide open shot for 23, Carden. He misses. Widener comes down with it. Aaron Martin driving to the basket, and very nice layup. Aaron Martin is one of those guys that we've been talking about all season, and it just you want to see him get rolling, and nice to see that basket early for him.
And people expect Aaron to be out on the perimeter so often, but that was an open look, and he took it right to the hole.
Van Pelt now once again out at the top, getting ready to run the offense. Carden handing off to Hogan's. Hogan's three-point, short, rebounded by Widener. Widener one-on-one coming, he drives, the basket is good, and he gets fouled.
You've got to love this aggressiveness, Mark. It's as if offensively they're saying collectively, we're tired of overtime games. Let's jump on this one early if we can.
You know, I think if it wasn't for the fact that here we are on Saturday and the last game was Tuesday night, we'd be worried about fatigue. But obviously, as you can see in this replay, Widener at least not at all tired, even though the last two games collectively have been a lot of extra minutes for the Wildcats. And Widener, three-point play. He now has 5 of the Wildcats' 9 points to start off this game.
Off to that early start they like.
Van Pelt kicking the ball over to Hogans. Now into number 50, Caleb Byers. He's just into the game.
And it just doesn't look like Spring Arbor is finding anything they want to do offensively is easy.
Ball is into Parker Stauffer. Oh, it just misses, but David Peters comes up with the rebound. So obviously Stauffer and Peters now in for the Wildcats. Widener losing control, but Peters is able to gain it. Parker Stauffer now in again.
Parker's going to kick himself for those 2 in a row.
He gets fouled on this. The foul is committed by number 50, Caleb Byers. That is his first, and that is the team 4th. Timeout called early in this game. We'll be back as all MCC games are high tempo, and the Wildcats have been the ones that have been able to convert.
Well, you have noted in previous games when they've done well, lots of assists, lots of passing, lots of quick ball movement. That seems to be the game. They don't want to get into a slowdown game necessarily, especially not early on.
Parker Stauffer now converting his first free throw. Here's the replay that happened right before the half. This was the second wide open layup that Stauffer had underneath the basket. He missed the second free throw there, and he missed both of those layups. But at least was able to come away with 1 point.
See an early score there. St. Francis and Bethel 15-16. So we'll be watching those all day, what's going on in the Mid-Central Conference.
Hogan's now kicking over to Howe. The big man on Stauffer on him. He stops, gets it back out to Van Pelt. Bellamy guarded closely. And that'll be a matchup that we'll be watching all afternoon, is to see how Bellamy does.
And again, I don't know exactly what Spring Arbor's offensive game plan is, but every time we've seen them down the court, the Wildcats have frustrated them with their defense. And you just see people taking shots that look like this is the last second desperation shot. The clock's expiring or someone's out of position. Just does not look like it's what they want to do.
That foul, by the way, called on number 10, David Peters. That is the first team foul for the Wildcats. Aaron Martin kind of frustrating that shot of Howe. And the ball goes out of bounds on the Cougars, and Aaron Martin will be inbounding the ball for the Wildcats.
Great defensive awareness for Martin there. Did not get the goaltend, caught it clean block beforehand.
DJ Bettinger, number 13, bringing the ball up now, also in the game for the Wildcats. The only starters out on the court are Martin and Widener, and Martin with a nice bank shot off of the glass. That is his 4th point of the game.
Aaron takes it to the hole again. Thought about the 3, moved on in closer, gets a good look.
We haven't really seen too much of that from Martin in this season. He's been more likely to stay out of the top of the 3 and shoot that, and perhaps Coach Tonigal has encouraged him, get on the inside, get in a rhythm before you start shooting from long range. Howe coming in on Stauffer. He gets a stepper on him and a nice layup. Widener bringing the ball up with Bellamy close on him. Martin coming over, setting a pick. Stauffer going inside. However, what a nice play by number 50, Caleb Byers. He just grabs the ball from Stauffer, and it's called a jump, and the possession arrow goes in favor of Spring Arbor.
We're going to see some of the starters coming back in now. A little bit of time on the bench.
Hopkins back in, Jones back in, and new to the game today is Schoen, number 12. Taylor Schoen, the junior. Van Pelt running things now for Spring Arbor. Bettinger guarding him closely, doing a good job on him. Hogan's getting a step on Jones, but he loses the ball. It looks like George is going to be called with that foul. That is Jones's first, team second.
gotten a couple of fouls marked, but I still like the aggressiveness of the defense. They're going to stay with their men. They're going to give them great frustration.
Van Pelt now off to the left-hand side trying to set things up. And there's going to be a foul called here on this play. And the foul is called on number 13, DJ Bettinger. His first, team third. Van Pelt now getting ready to bring the ball in. He gets it to Howe, who immediately puts it up. Missed shot, rebound by Bettinger, and the Wildcats press forward into their court. Jones driving to the middle. Gets a nice shot, and it drops.
Clearly from the last game, the Wildcats thought there was something that could be open underneath, so they're taking it to the hole as often as they can.
Van Pelt getting a nice bounce pass to Howe, who lays it up and in. 14-6 now the score, with the Wildcats up by 8. Taylor Schoen getting the ball into Hopkins. Hopkins looking for Jones, however, he keeps it. Turnaround jumper, leaves it short. And the ball goes off of the Cougars, and the Wildcats will get the ball back.
When Howe stands down there and stays with Patrick, he's going to frustrate him. Big body on big body, and clearly that's working. When Patrick's gotten open, it's been stuck when Howe's been out of position.
It's always impressed me, though, the games we play where there are other big bodies on Patrick, and he does a good job of still getting on the inside and getting that move. But
he usually figures it out. Sometimes it takes about a half of a half. But
David Peters out now, and Troyer back in. George Jones once again taking it to the hoop. Jones has just a wonderful ability that when he goes up in the air, it just seems like he just kind of just slow motion is staying in the air and does a great job with his body control.
And as long as Cougars stay in that man-for-man defense, seems to be open. If we're taking it to the basket, we've got the ability to get down there and at least get the shot or get fouled.
We've been talking about this the last few games, but George, when he gets to the free throw line, has been leaving it short, and still both free throws short, and unfortunately it kind of gets in his head. Fortunately, Troyer up with the rebound, and the Wildcats retain possession. So DJ Bettinger getting things set back up again. He drives under the basket, goes all the way baseline. Back inside to Jones, who misses that layup. Van Pelt up to Bellamy. Bellamy on a fast break, kicks it out. Van Pelt now getting things rolling again, and Bellamy back out beyond the arc. Shoots inside the three-point line. He leaves it short. And Bellamy has only got 1 point so far this afternoon. The defense has done a great job of really shutting him down.
Not only do the Cougars not have any great outside shots, they aren't taking that many. When they do, they look very, very awkward. So the only thing that's working for them is when they get us out of position and they go in, drive in.
Troyer now bringing the ball back up. Widener out there. Jones is out there. Patrick Hopkins, the only bench player, being Taylor Schoen, who just had his hand on the ball. Widener driving into the lane, having the ball knocked away, and the refs say he was also fouled. And the foul is on number 5, Chris Bellamy. That is now his second and the team's 6th. So we're just 1 away from the bonus. Jones will be inbounding the ball for the Wildcats. He gets it to Troyer. Troyer now dribbling to his right. Kicks it out to Vandewater, who has now come in the game for the Wildcats. Well, Troyer put his shoulder down, and he got charged with a foul. That's his first, team 4th. Yeah, we're going to want to keep our eye this afternoon on that score of the St. Francis game, since we are tied for second with them, and they come here into Lucky Arena Tuesday night. That'll be a big game here this afternoon. Long three-pointer by number 24, Derek Belote. He misses it. Vandewater now getting ready and tosses it to Widener. Sets a pick for Widener into Hopkins. Hopkins has the step, puts it off the glass just a little too hard, and the Cougars come down with it.
Patrick had the shot, just tried to give it a little too much touch there, didn't quite follow through.
Howe with long three-pointer. Hopkins rebounds. Boy, Randall, how many shots have we seen now under the basket for the Wildcats where they have really a good shot and they've missed? At least 4 or 5, I think.
You go down on the other end, what Spring Arbor is doing is they're getting open looks way far from the perimeter, and just the wrong people are shooting them. It doesn't look like from the stroke that these are the people that the coach would want them taking those shots.
Van Pelt getting the step on Troyer. He has a nice, clean drive to the lane, and so a quick 2 points for them. 16-8 now is the score. The difference continues to be 8. Vandewater closely guarded by Hogans. Widener with a jumper, no good. So the teams right now are just trading a lot of missed shots. And a nice block by Vandewater on Hogans as the height advantage was apparent there.
There was no way he was letting him get that shot clean.
So Troyer slows things down just a tad as they get their offense all set. Widener trying to get it into Hopkins. And the ball will go back as we're going to get a foul here on number 33, Patrick Hopkins. That's his first, and that's the team 5th. So Coach Tonigal has just gone now to the bench, done more substitution. Wildcats having a very deep bench, and Coach substituting a lot over the course of the game, which I suspect is part of the reason we have survived a triple overtime and a double overtime in the last week.
If the bench strength wasn't there, we would be in great trouble with those games.
Howe now trying to come in on Parker Stauffer. Martin out there. And a nice pass back door as number 12, Van Pelt, comes right in. Aaron Martin trying to get the ball into Jones. Jones was breaking to the basket. That pass was just a little bit behind him. Troyer now underneath, kicks it back out to Martin on the outside, who gives it to Jones. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Jones driving. Jones is going to be fouled on that play, so he'll get to go to the line. That foul was charged to number 12, Van Pelt. That is his second and the team's 7th. So we will see the bonus kick in on the next time the Wildcats get fouled.
I think we've seen 4 or 5 times, Mark, coming down here, open layups or somewhat open layups missed.
Here's the replay of George driving in.
That was certainly contested there, hence the foul, but
a little surprised the Spring Arbor bench didn't complain a little bit. Van Pelt looked like he was fairly well established, but nevertheless, the foul was committed. Jones makes the first, misses the second, and now the Cougars are on their way back on offense. We're just starting to feel a little bit like the momentum may be swinging back to Spring Arbor.
It's certainly settling in. Whatever they were doing, decided to do defensively has made a difference. And they've caught the Wildcats napping a few times with that backdoor play. Almost had them there.
Well, we got Spring Arbor's got 2 of their smallest guys underneath the basket, surrounded by our tallest guys. Not surprisingly, absolutely nothing came out of that possession. So Bellamy inbounding the ball now to Howe. 25 seconds left on the shot clock. One of the reasons why Bellamy's having a hard time is because George Jones is doing the guarding on him. There's a big height difference. And to 10. Randall, we were talking just a little bit before the break that it has felt in the last couple minutes like the Wildcats have been up to their old tricks where they're starting to miss shots and allow the other team to get back into this. Nevertheless, it's still a 7-point difference.
I don't think there's a lot of change in the game plan. They're still attacking both ends of the court, lots of aggressiveness. And until Spring Arbor starts making their shots, there's no reason to get out of that.
Jordan Widener getting the rebound from Howe's shot. He had a good look under the basket and he missed. The ball goes out of bounds. Wildcats have retained possession.
Makes for an exciting game to see this kind of up and down the court, but you do, if you get into sloppiness and you have those turnovers, it can be a little ugly at times.
Martin now getting the ball into Widener. DJ Bettinger back in for the Wildcats. running the offense. David Peters also in. Martin for his first three, and it rims in and out. Boy, that was a good shot, good-looking shot. It just didn't drop.
I don't think we've seen even another three attempt so far.
Spring Arbor has had a couple of really long ones as a result of letting the clock run down. Hogan's now getting on the inside, getting a nice bank shot. But for the Wildcats, you're right. I think that may have been the first three-pointer that we've shot on the afternoon. David Peters now setting things up, getting over to Bettinger. Peters again coming over to the right. Wanting to go to Widener, thinking better of it. Now all the way cross court to Martin. And Peters driving to the lane. Once again, putting it too hard off of the backboard.
That's got to be about 5. That was almost too open for him.
And Peters will be charged with the foul. That is his second. Team 7th. So the bonus is in effect, and so the Cougars will get a one-on-one.
That's got to be about 3 offensive fouls we've seen on the Wildcats into the court. So clearly aggressiveness offensively does pay a price sometimes.
Number 24, Derek Belote, now going to the line. The senior guard makes his first. He'll get a second shot. Belote is from Spring Arbor, Michigan. And is the only senior on this squad. So this is a pretty young squad. So he makes both. The gap now is 3. And this would be the time where the Wildcats need to kind of get their shots to drop. But we've seen this all season. They reach a lull somewhere in the middle to the later part of the first half. Consequently, either going in halftime down or up by not as much as they could have.
Well, you're always going to have runs, and you're always going to have teams that have to make adjustments. I think the key thing here is I don't see a lot of adjustment in the plan because it's mostly worked. 4 or 5 of those shots drop that look like they should have dropped. This would be a different ballgame.
6 seconds now on the shot clock. Troyer trying to set things up. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that'll be a shot clock violation.
Someone was out of position. Someone did not get the ball movement they needed on that one, and that's got to be frustrating for Coach Tonigal as he moves starters in and out and moves people off the bench.
We really haven't been that good when we're under 10 seconds and then trying to run things. We really have not done a very good job of converting this season. Bellamy now on the outside, getting to Byers. Hogan's driving in, but he takes a step according to the ref, and so it'll be a turnover. Wildcat ball. Patrick Hopkins now checking in for the Wildcats. He'll replace Stauffer. Aaron Martin also having a seat.
I'm beginning to wonder emotionally how important is it to go into halftime with a little bit of a decent lead.
Or a run.
With a couple of teams, with some momentum, with a team that has just been taken to the wire by some teams with not great records, but they've really been competitive.
Widener, wide open 3, he misses. Patrick gets a hand on it, but they don't get the ball back. By the way, Aaron Martin is still in the game. He was just simply walking to the side to inbound the ball. So it's a 3-point advantage. Wildcats. Hogan's coming in. He gets the ball tipped away by Widener, and Troyer comes up with it. Troyer bringing it, dishing it off to Hopkins, who moves on the inside and misses the shot.
Patrick almost looked like he was surprised to get the ball there, Mark. Make this a 10-point game.
And that's the joy of basketball.
Well, all coaches will tell you runs are going to happen. The question is, how do you respond to them? And I think they're still looking for the response as they start to look at the clock winding down this first half.
Number 21, Nick Mascaro in for the Cougars. We've not seen him this afternoon. Bellamy, he takes a 3-pointer.
Not a good shot.
Keys, it looks like this afternoon with Bellamy, is they just decided to put some of our bigger guys on him and get in his face, and he just has not had any good-looking shots. Patrick Hopkins, they've doubled down on him. Number 50, Byers, just immediately came in on him, and consequently, he got charged with the foul. That's his second, and that's the team 8th. Patrick will now go to the line shooting 2.
The one thing the Cougars have done defensively is they've figured out that they're going to try to shut Patrick down. It's got to be opening other things up, because right now the others are not finishing through on that.
Here we get a little bit of a replay on that last play, and you can see that Byers was just all over him, but they had done a good job of sandwiching him. Hopkins missing both free throws.
And the other thing, with the way this team has been shooting free throws in the month of January, teams have got to think, we've got to take it to them and risk some fouls. We're not going to turn them into points. Or they're not going to turn them into points.
Byers getting a shot and getting fouled by number 33, Patrick Hopkins. That is his second. And that is also the team 8th for the Wildcats. So number 22, Matt Howe, the junior forward, 6'9", out of Richland, Michigan, will be going to the line shooting 2. Howe missing that shot. He's got 1 point on the afternoon. Here's the rebound, or the replay. And you can see that Patrick just about tackled him.
It seems like we've been sitting here at 17-14 forever, Mark.
I believe we have. And fortunately, Spring Arbor has got some free throw troubles as well, so nothing changes in the score. 4 minutes remaining in this game. This may be one of the lowest scoring first halves the Wildcats have had in a long time. Aaron Martin shooting the three-pointer, missing, but he gets a rebound. And the 35-second clock has not reset. Coaches of Spring Arbor are going to ask about that because that ball never hit the rim. It hit the side of the backboard. So there really should be 50. All right, the ref is saying it's his fault. They're going to put probably 14, 15 seconds back on the shot clock. Should be 15. Everybody is helping the refs with that acknowledgement.
Well, our TV position is right here by the visiting coaches, so we always hear whatever they have to say for sure.
They've set it to 16, and I do think it should be 15. So let's see if they change that. It looks like they're gonna stick. Oh, there we go, 15 seconds. So now we're back rolling, and there are 12 seconds left in the shot clock. So let's see how the Wildcats. Troyer just pulls up, takes a nice shot, and it goes down.
That was way too easy. Where did that go for about 6 or 7 minutes?
Yeah, he was wide open and had nice height on that jump, and good-looking shot.
Just a simple screen, go around it, take the easy jumper. At this point, the way outside shooting is looking, we'll take the 2.
Van Pelt now coming at the center. They got 12 seconds left in the shot clock. Mascaro on the side, getting back to Bellamy. Bellamy drives. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Howe unaware. He shoots, and he makes it.
You hate to get the wrong guy with the ball in his hands and have him kind of make a garbage shot like that.
Yeah, exactly. He really didn't have a clue. But he got the shot. 3 minutes remaining in this first half. Troyer now tossing it back to Bettinger. Into Widener. Widener into Stauffer. Once again, Stauffer leaving it short.
Now it looks like to me the Wildcats are not getting the shots they want. Even when it goes down low, it seems as if players are surprised to have the ball and can't finish.
Bellamy doing a nice job dishing it off to Howe, who converts. So obviously a lot of adjustments have been made for both teams, and at this point Spring Arbor's adjustments seem to have been more effective than what we've done. 2.5 minutes now left in this first half, and we haven't even broken the 20-point mark yet.
Got to find some offense.
Good ball movement on this offensive possession. Troyer back to Martin, into Stauffer. However, that was telegraphed, and Howe was able to get that. Not the best pass. So we have another turnover.
You're only going to get so many chances with those big bodies that Spring Arbor has to get the ball low.
Bellamy driving around. Aaron Martin on him, but he's able to kick the ball out. Hogan's long three-pointer, he leaves it short, and Aaron Martin comes up with the rebound, and DJ Bettinger now setting things up.
The Wildcats can't shoot outside today. Fortunately, their opponent can't either.
I have a feeling when we look at the halftime stats, we're not going to be wowed by shooting percentages. Widener kicking it out to Troyer. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Oh, Parker Stauffer. Nice inside move on Howe.
I think he almost slammed that one. He was not going to miss it for sure. He got it about as close to a slam as you can, kind of laying it in the cylinder, an old school dunk.
A minute 17 remaining in this first half. Van Pelt getting things set up. They look like they're going to be somewhat content to run the clock down. Bellamy guarded closely by Bettinger. Ball back over to Van Pelt. 10 seconds remaining in the shot clock. Bellamy gets a step, but nicely defense by Aaron Martin. Widener coming up. It's a 1-on-2. He shoots. It does not drop. And unfortunately, that foul is going to be called on Jordan Widener. That is his first and the team 9th.
You take an aggressive stance, depending on how things are going to get called, you will pay for it at times.
.46 seconds now remaining in this half. Bettinger guarding Van Pelt closely. The ball tries to get into the inside, and it's intercepted by Vandewater.
Chance to go up here by the half. Don't get sloppy.
Not the best pass by Widener. Oh, there's about a 1 second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Need to set it up, get a good shot.
So Bettinger now guarded closely by Hogans, way on the outside. He's getting things set up. 10 seconds left in the shot clock. Troyer driving, and unfortunately too strong of a pass to Vandewater, and the ball goes out of bounds with 5.5 seconds remaining in the half.
These are the kind of patterns that we've seen the Wildcats get into through this difficult stretch. They get a little sloppy, a little ragged, and then pushing things doesn't pay off.
Some pressure applied by the Wildcats. 2 seconds for game. Hogan's long three-pointer, no good. So that's going to do it at half. Wildcats with a 3-point advantage, 21. So we're getting ready now to start the second half. 21-18 is the score, and both teams bringing out their original starting 5. And this second half will begin with Aaron Martin tossing the ball in for the Wildcats. He gets it into Troyer, and we are underway in this second half. Widener now seeing Patrick Hopkins. He was open, but he kept moving away from the basket.
There's another turnover.
There's another turnover. George Jones not able to keep hold on to the ball. And so now the Cougars are getting their first possession of the half. And we just got a little bit of a pattern going between the guards for the Cougars. Howe getting the position on the inside, and there for a moment it was Troyer that was guarding Howe, not Hopkins. So fortunately, it went out of bounds, and the Cougars had a turnover, and now here comes Derek Troyer back for the Wildcats.
Seems like both coaches took a look at those halftime stats, Mark, and said, we're going to keep punching it inside because we're not shooting well.
Troyer, nice pull-up jumper, and it drops. Good way to start the second half. Took them 50 seconds before we got that first basket, but a nice shot by Troyer. Bellamy on the inside, he kicks it out. It bounces out, and George Jones comes down with the rebound. Widener getting it to Hopkins. Troyer tossing it over Howe to Hopkins.
Sloppy pass
quite
there.
Make it.
There's a lot of long arms down there in the paint, so just thinking, just lobbing it in there, Patrick's not always going to get that.
Carden getting it into Bellamy, guarded by Jones. Hogan's on the left-hand side. He gets it to Howe, guarded closely by Patrick. And we have some contact, and it looks like the foul will be committed by number 22, Howe. That is his second. You could tell he did not like that call. And Hopkins might have done a little acting.
A little
on that.
drama there, but we've seen that from Patrick before, but doesn't always get the calls. These refs are clearly calling offensive fouls.
I believe that's about the third or fourth offensive call here this afternoon. So Weiner on the left-hand side. He sees Hopkins get open, but he wisely kicks it out. Aaron Martin under the basket just puts it up too hard. So Bellamy driving in. He's going to shoot, but he pulls back. Gives it to Van Pelt, who drives. Howe gets the position, and he gets the rebound, and then Aaron Martin is going to get charged with the foul, and that'll send Howe to the line. That's Martin's first foul on the afternoon. Howe will get 2 shots.
It is interesting how both teams look so similar on the offensive ends in terms of what they're trying to do. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe Indiana Wesleyan is playing down to the level of the competition, but they both see something there by attacking the basket. But you got to make those shots drop.
And bounces around, but Howe makes both of his free throws. You mentioned this a bit ago, Randall, but how we do, or both teams do, on their free throw shooting in this second half may be the outcome of this game.
And Coach Tonigo would like to see a second half that's a little better than that first half, because it has been extremely cold from the line.
Widener now top of the key. 10 seconds remaining in the shot clock. They go inside Jones, who jams it through on the alley-oop pass from Jordan Widener.
How in the world did they think George Jones would not be doing that? I see the lob, and I think Derek has lobbed up some kind of crazy pass, and there's George coming out of nowhere.
Bellamy going under the basket, and Aaron Martin getting the ball, but I think they're going to say he got more than the ball. And that is a foul on Aaron Martin. That is his second. I could tell Martin did not like that call, and at least from my vantage point here, it looked like it was nothing but ball, but obviously the ref saw something a little different. Bellamy, who's about an 87% free throw shooter. Here we see that play again. George Jones with the alley-oop pass. And a really nice jam.
You just don't see that many alley-oops in the MCC, uncontested, not coming on a fast break. Really woke the crowd up here.
Bellamy making those free throw shots now. Jordan Widener bringing the ball up. Still a 3-point difference, 25-22. Jones kicks it back out to Troyer now as he's setting things up. Gets it to Widener. Widener with a nice pull-up jumper. Good. Widener has been quiet on the afternoon, only scoring 5 points.
There seems to be so much available within 5 to 10 feet of the basket for the Wildcats today if they can just convert those shots.
Let me correct myself. Widener now with 7 points on the afternoon. Van Pelt kind of pausing just to let the things set up for the Cougars. He's yelling out the play. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Bellamy getting the ball into Howe. Guarded closely by Hopkins. Hopkins shuts down his drive. Troyer coming over to help. And Van Pelt takes some steps. Another turnover for Spring Arbor. Number 50 now, Caleb Byers coming in and replacing number 23, Matt Carden for the Cougars. Aaron Martin getting ready to bring the ball in for the Wildcats. He gets it into Troyer. Jones now on the right-hand side, handed off to Martin. Widener now coming over. And George starting to drive, and unfortunately slips, loses his footing. And it's a 5-point difference. And Spring Arbor will be bringing the ball. Last play of the game, George Jones, the fourth, slipped. He's still on the court. He's okay. He looked like he was hurting a little bit, but he's up and he's functioning fine. Van Pelt now running the offense for the Cougars. Gets the ball to Hogans. He launches up. Nice shot off the backboard. Basket is good, and now Jordan Widener brings the ball down the other direction. Troyer driving in, kicking the ball back to George, who tries to do what he was wanting to do in the last possession. He misses that shot, goes up, has the ball stripped from him, and Howe comes up with it for the Cougars.
Mark, how many times are we going to let opponents hang around in our own house?
And Byers with a nice put in for the Cougars, and now this game is 1 point. And the answer to that, Randall, is I don't know. We've been doing it all season, and counting this game, we've only got 5 games left in the regular season. So it seems to be a pattern that this team has established.
Well, the MCC is historically always tough.
Widener has his shot blocked. Now they're going to have to stop because they reset the shot clock, and they shouldn't have done that. And now the refs will have to confer once again. We've had some problems here this afternoon with the shot clock operator. So they'll determine how many seconds are left on that. St. Francis, as you can see, looks like they have a commanding 19-point lead over Bethel.
And they're coming to town this next week.
I believe that game is on the road, too, at Bethel. So that 12 seconds on the shot clock. And the Wildcats bring this ball up now. Patrick Hopkins probably ought to shoot. 3 seconds left on the shot clock. And now he puts it in. Woo. I got to tell you, one of these days, we should have a nice, easy victory.
I don't think it's today, but
no.
Maybe if more of those shots can go down to Patrick, he can go straight up, take him right up, put the body on the body. Maybe we could see something happen, but he was taken out of the first half.
Nice pass in to Howe. However, it's stolen by Troyer. David Peters comes up with it. And so now the Wildcats come back on offense. 3-point lead. It sure would be nice to get this basket and start to increase the lead. Widener now with the ball, dribbling her over to his left. David Peters in as well as Taylor Schoen. Patrick Hopkins doubled down. He's able to hold on to it. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Widener, he drives. And they're going to call that play off before he even gets a chance. And they're going to call a foul away from the ball. That foul will be called on number 12, Van Pelt. That is his third. Stauffer comes in now. Patrick Hopkins takes the bench. 2 team fouls apiece for both teams here in the second half. We got a fresh 35-second shot clock, so this is good for the Wildcats. And Troyer motioning to Peters. A little bit of confusion between those two guys. Troyer tries to get the ball into Stauffer, and the ball is kicked away by Byers. Another turnover committed by the Wildcats. Hogan tries to drive in on Troyer. Bellamy pulls up. Not a very good looking shot. He gets the rebound and comes back up, misses it again.
Imagine where we'd be if Bellamy was close to his average today. Now, a lot of that is Wildcat defense, thanks to George Jones staying on him. But if Bellamy was anywhere close to his average today, this would be a very different game.
That foul is called on Byers. That is his third. So the Cougars have 2 players with 3 fouls apiece. So we're going to keep an eye. Van Pelt actually takes a seat right now. Byers stays out there. DJ Bettinger in for the Wildcats now. Troyer is getting rested. David Peters gets it to Stauffer, back out to Bettinger. Bettinger, wide open lane, decides to, I don't know what that was, and turns the ball over.
It was a mistake. Pretty simple.
Yes. So Byers out there. He tosses it over to number 24, Belote. Spring Arbor coaches really wanting this team to move. They're doing a little bit of standing around. Howe driving in. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Howe going under the basket. Doesn't get a very good shot off, and Stauffer comes down with it. Peters now getting things set and hands it off to Schoen, who tries to get it into Stauffer. Nice pass, and Stauffer lays it up and in.
Just keep doing the same thing. Maybe it will start dropping. Keep getting the ball low. Take advantage. I think their big men for Spring Arbor are getting a little tired, Mark.
5 points now is the difference. Bellamy driving, lofts one, and it finally drops. Bellamy now 4 points on the afternoon, well below his average of 22. Showing at the top of the key, gives it off to David Peters, who bounces it into Stauffer, just a little too hot. The ball is, we're going to get a little travel call on Byers, which is to our benefit, but boy, we were sloppy down there.
Mark, I think it's very clear now as we get through midway through the second half, physically, talent-wise, the Wildcats have the advantage here. Spring Arbor has played really, really well. If Coach Tonic will continue to substitute and we can just get a few more of these shots to drop, I think you're going to see this end of this second half look very, very different. But if the shots don't drop and they get sloppy like that, who knows?
Right. It really is surprising that our shooting percentage was 45% in the first half, because we just saw an awful lot of shots not dropping.
Like
no, it really didn't. Widener pulls up, nice looking shot, just a little off to the left. He misses it. Now here comes Bellamy. The tempo of this game has not slowed down at all. Bellamy, I hope this is not something that he's starting to get on a roll, because
he wanted to keep the ball there. Saw it in his eyes that I'm keeping this one. I'm going to make something happen.
Ball goes into Stauffer again. It's tipped away by Van Pelt, but Widener is able to get it back. Tosses it to Bettinger, who gets it to Schoen. Schoen trying to get into Stauffer.
Another turnover.
Looks like, however, they're going to call the foul on number 50, Byers. That is his fourth. So we're going to have to see. I have a feeling that Coach Cunningham is going to have to pull him now, put him on the bench.
With all these key players on the bench, their bench is now going to have to step up.
Number 32, Zach Vandewater, now in for the Wildcats. He tosses it to Bettinger. And I do think if the Wildcats can maintain this tempo and continue to wear them down and drop a few shots,
that would help.
Troyer driving the lane, surrounded by big guys. He gets up a good shot. Vandewater puts it back up and misses.
Okay, got to start making them now. It's gonna get like that. It's gonna get chippy these last 10 minutes. Got to go to the line and make some.
That foul is called on number 12, Van Pelt. That is his fourth. So now Byers comes out and Van Pelt come out, both guys with 4 fouls. Spring Arbor has 5 team fouls to 2 for the Wildcats. The ball gets into Stauffer. He's looking around for some help. He turns around, pulls up, misses, doesn't have quite the distance on the shot he needed. And now Bellamy is coming up. Bellamy wanting to take the shot, but Troyer in his face. Troyer doing a good job, but Bellamy drives. And I think a foul is going to be called on number 23, Derek Troyer. That is his second, the team third.
Bellamy clearly frustrated in the first half, Mark. I'm seeing it every time he comes down. He's looking, he's seeing basket. He's not seeing other players.
And fortunately, I mean, though Troyer committed the foul on this possession, he really is doing a great job defensively. And you can see a little bit of bump right there. Really not that significant of a foul, but I think it's safe to say these refs have been calling this game pretty closely this afternoon.
Pretty close both ways.
So Bellamy makes both shots. He now has 8 on the afternoon. Troyer guarded closely by Hogans, and Troyer acting like he's having some problems, and he gets the foul. Hogans will be charged with that foul. It's only his first foul in the afternoon. We're not in the bonus situation yet, so the Wildcats will simply inbound the ball with a fresh shot clock. And Bellamy steps in front of the pass. He's got a lone lane and doesn't make the shot. Hogans follows down. My word.
Love to see a replay on that one. I'm not sure, but we'll take it as a clean block.
And just like that now, Spring Arbor has a 3-point lead over the Wildcats, 34-31. Patrick Hopkins back in the game. He gets it to Jones. Back to Hopkins. He drives, puts it up too hard. It comes off, and Spring Arbor comes back with a 3-point lead.
I think we need to just see a montage at the end of the game of missed shots that are 3 feet out.
Hogans pulls up, shoots, no good. Stauffer and Hopkins come down with it, and here come the Wildcats desperately needing a basket on this possession. Widener takes it all the way, misses. A foul will be called. We'll get the call here from the refs as to who committed that foul. Number 32, that is Jake Peterson. That is his first foul.
We've had such a fast game so far. I really think this last 8 minutes, 20 seconds are going to be a lot of clock stoppages now.
Only a total of 65 points scored so far in this game. And Stauffer makes that 66.
Was that a Wildcat making a free throw there?
It was. Bellamy now going to the bench, getting a rest, a much needed rest. Stauffer now getting ready to take his second free throw. And he makes it. Very important, 2 free throw shots made. 1 point is the difference, 34-33 Cougars. Van Pelt with 4 fouls back in the game now. Hogan's kicking the ball over to 24 Belote. Hogan's guarded by George Jones. Back to Van Pelt on the other side of the floor. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Howe's putting it to the ground. Patrick Hopkins blocks that shot. George Jones with the rebound. He's pulling back and giving to Troyer, who gets it into Patrick Hopkins.
Wise to Patrick to go ahead and get something up because he knew he was going to get fouled there.
Nice pass from Troyer to Hopkins. And that foul is committed by number 32, Peterson, his second. The 8th team foul, and the 2 remaining in this game. It's a 1-point difference, and unlike most of the game, that difference now goes in favor of the Cougars. You can see some other scores from around the league. Grace 59-48 over Goshen. Grace still in commanding, have a 1-game lead over the rest of over St. Francis and the Wildcats.
And you look at that difference between St. Francis and Bethel right now. We just don't see many MCC games with that kind of margin these days.
Hopkins is at the line, and it's because of this play right here, and he made his first free throw, and he makes the second. So the last 4 free throw attempts were shooting 100%. Consequently, we now have a 1-point lead, 35-34. Van Pelt now getting the ball over to Hogans. Number 32, Peterson, in the game. Howe guarded closely by our 2 big men, Hopkins
nice
and
defense.
Stauffer.
Oh.
And Peterson
Such
able
a good
to
effort.
bounce that ball in for the Cougars. Troyer now taking his time as he brings the ball up the court. Gives it to Hopkins. He puts it on the floor.
Another turnover.
Has the ball kicked away from him. Hogan's now guarded closely by George Jones IV. He gets a movement on him. The ball is tipped away. George gets it to Patrick. Stauffer now down there. He bounces it to Widener, who lays it in.
Great court awareness there. If they can just keep pushing it like that, I think they've got the advantage at this point, Mark. They've definitely got the stamina.
And a timeout has been called by the Cougars.
Unless I blinked.
So the Cougars bring the ball in. Bellamy to Howe. Bellamy has been on the bench resting, and he is now back on the court. Bellamy goes to the inside. It's tipped by Jones and pulled down out of the air by Hopkins.
Block. Nice awareness by George Jones.
So Derek Troyer setting things up, driving in. He kicks it out to Jones. Jones almost loses it, but he keeps a handle on it. Jordan Widener trying to drive in. He gets it to Hopkins. Aaron Martin for three. No, I was really hoping that'd be the first three-pointer made on the afternoon.
But that looked like Wildcat offense there. Lots of good ball movement, setting it up. You got the good look at the basket, just didn't deliver.
Nice pass from Van Pelt to Byers. So the two men with 4 fouls connect together to get a nice basket. Widener straight to the hoop. He gets the basket.
Something about the end of the game, you just see Jordan Widener show up.
You really do. Widener now 11 on the afternoon. Bellamy driving to the right. He gets around Troyer, banks it off the glass. No good. Hopkins gets the rebound. Oh, and we just about had a turnover. Troyer wasn't watching when Hopkins passed it to him. But we've got it. Troyer to the basket, and he lays it in.
Sometimes Derek Troyer, you think he's going to do something crazy. He just sneaks right by you and puts it in as a layup.
So in the last minute and a half, the Wildcats looking like they have some life, and now with a 3-point lead. Van Pelt getting the ball into Howe. Byers left wide open.
Caught napping there, got out of position.
So all of a sudden, both teams have increased their intensity, and consequently, their buckets have been dropping. Widener for three. No! Patrick Hopkins with the rebound. Kicks it out to Troyer. We got a fresh 35. Aaron Martin handing off to George Jones. We're going to get a foul over in that area. I think Martin got fouled, and he was fouled by number 50. That is going to be it for Byers.
Refs aren't calling it yet.
So we're going to take a minute. It'll be a little bit here before Byers takes a seat. Coaches always take their time. And so here comes Byers. That is it for him this afternoon. So with 4:15 remaining in this game, Byers will take a seat, and Martin going to the line to shoot two. Actually, that was a one-on-one, though I thought I saw the ref indicating two. But he will get two because he made the first.
Might have to win it at the free throw line today.
Well, I got to tell you, 6 free throws here in the last couple of minutes, all made. They have stepped up huge from the free throw line. 43-40, 4 minutes remaining in this game. Cougars on offense. Van Pelt running things. He's also got 4 fouls for the Cougars. Belote trying to take a step on Martin, doesn't get it. Bellamy looking, he tosses cross court to Van Pelt. 5 seconds on the shot clock, and a turnover committed by the Cougars. Cougars have had a hard time all afternoon trying to get in on the Wildcat defense. Troyer now bringing the ball up. Almost tackled. Widener's almost tackled. Troyer drives. He misses the shot, but he'll be fouled. Coach Tonigal wondering why Widener didn't have a foul called against him.
Derek Troyer is shooting for the Wildcats. Deep second foul, 2 shots.
So Derek Troyer will go to the line. He's going to shoot 2. He makes the first, 7 for 7.
5-point lead would be huge, Mark.
And you can see Troyer going up, and clearly number 22, Matt Howe, that's his 3rd foul. He was moving as Troyer came in, and he makes his 2nd free throw. So the Wildcats now 8 for 8 in the last 5 minutes in free throws. 45-40 is the score, and a 5-point lead for the Wildcats. Hogan's driving.
I don't know how he made that.
I don't
just
either.
Great court awareness. Just wanted to get that one in.
So Troyer now taking his time, bringing the ball up court. Van Pelt giving him a tiny bit of pressure. George Jones, he's going to drive, and he gets the open lane, and unfortunately just doesn't get it to drop. Bounced around, and the Cougars get possession. Bellamy driving down, goes under the basket, throws up a shot. Not a good shot whatsoever. No rim was touched, so and we're going to have a foul. And that foul is called on Jordan Widener. That is his second, team fourth. Wildcats same game. I think it's safe to say, Randall, it's been an ugly game.
I am just surprised we're sitting here at 45-42. I just think about the Indiana Wesleyan Wildcats. So many more attempts, it seems. I don't have the numbers in front of me. So many more attempts, so many more open looks. And yet Spring Arbor just will not go away. I think they're outmatched. I think they don't have the talent on the court, but Indiana Wesleyan has not delivered when it's had opportunities to put this game away.
Jordan Widener fouling Van Pelt on that last play, which is why Van Pelt got to the line twice, made both of his free throws. A little surprised nobody complained about that call. There wasn't a whole lot of body contact, but nevertheless, the foul was called. And now the Wildcats have a 1-point lead with Troyer setting things up. He bounces the ball over to Patrick Hopkins. Good tight defense on the part of the Cougars and the Wildcats, and in fact the ball is tipped away from Troyer. He keeps the possession. 10 seconds now on the shot clock. Jordan Widener's got it. He drives, gets through that, and makes the basket, and will be fouled.
And what's that name again? Jordan Widener. We said it at the top of the game, Mark. Something about these games being on the line. Widener just steps up.
That foul was charged to number 3, Rob Hogans. That is his second. And Widener has an opportunity as you see this replay. For one thing, I don't know how he got through. There were 3 guys forming a wall, and he just kind of stepped through an opening and had an open drive to the basket. So if he makes this free throw, that'll be 9 for 9 in the last 5-6 minutes for the Wildcats. And I think the storyline for this game will be made free throws down the stretch.
Down the stretch, it wasn't there in the first half.
So the game now 4-point advantage for the Wildcats, 48-44. 2 minutes remaining now in this game. Van Pelt getting the ball to Bellamy. He tries to drive. And I think they're going to call a foul on Jones. In fact, that's who the foul is called on. That is his third. And Bellamy will go to the line. Bellamy, as we have mentioned before, averaging close to 22 points a game. He is the leading scorer in the MCC. He has this afternoon been held to 8 points. And I think at least 4 of them have come at the free throw line. So he's not getting a whole lot of open looks. He makes his first free throw shot. And you can see how that occurred. And there was some contact between Jones and Bellamy.
Seems like we've seen these starters on the floor much more in the second half than in the first half, Mark. A lot more exchanges. I don't know what that says about the game plan or the matchups in this particular game.
Vandewater was just in. He went out, and now we have the starting 5 on the floor. Under 2 minutes, 48-46. Aaron Martin came awfully close there to taking some steps, but he was able to put it on the floor, and so now we've got 20 seconds on the shot clock. George Jones handing off to Widener. Patrick Hopkins going inside. Jones then driving. He lofts it up left-handed, and it drops.
Great step up by George Jones right at the end of the shot clock. Just what you want to do in the last 2 minutes.
So Van Pelt now bringing the ball up for the Cougars. 1:15 remaining in this game. 4-point difference. Van Pelt over to Howe. Howe has been quiet much of the second half. Van Pelt guarded by Jones. 12 seconds on the shot clock. Long three-pointer by
not what Spring Arbor wanted.
They get the ball back. It goes into Howe. Hopkins doing a great job. The ball is tipped by Jones.
Nobody
Van
saw
Pelt
it.
Drives. It drops. And immediately a timeout ahead of ourselves. First of all, we got 46 seconds to worry about here. Martin gets the ball into Widener. They're opting not to foul him.
I think they changed their mind. It didn't look like that was intentional. He was going for ball.
He was, and that is going to be it for number 12, Matt Van Pelt. That is his 5th foul. The 5'9" junior guard from Rockford, Michigan, has had just a tremendous afternoon in running the offense. And so now he's going to have to take a seat.
Probably not the one they wanted to put on the line.
So Coach Cunningham taking his time that he has, determining who to replace Van Pelt. And so he brings in number 21, Nick Viscaro, 5'11" guard, sophomore. And now Jordan Widener will get a chance to go to the free throw line and attempt a couple of free throws. The Wildcats are 9 for 9 from the free throw line here in the last 6-7 minutes of this game.
And these are big.
And Widener makes it 10 for 10.
No hesitation on that, just step up and shoot it.
I was a little nervous. He seemed a little off balance after the shot, but maybe that was just finessing it in. He misses now. George Jones with the rebound. He puts it up and in.
Great follow through. What awareness to turn around and get that.
So Coach Tonigal calls a timeout with 38.4 seconds remaining. Instead of having a 4.
That Bethel score earlier, that kind of margin just unbelievable.
Yes.
San Francis has been at the top of this conference a number of years, and you wonder if just their leadership is coming down.
Oh, 3-point shot in and out by Bellamy. It looked like it was going to drop, and we're going to get a foul called here, and it's going to go against number 22, Matt Howe. That is his 4th. So 5 seconds were taken off the game clock, and now it looks like Jordan Widener is going to be the one, or no, Taylor Schoen, who's going to be going to the line and shooting 2 for the Wildcats. 2 really big free throws here. And he makes the first. So 11 for 12 coming down the stretch for the Wildcats. Coach Tonigal wants to have a timeout, just talk things over with 28.3 seconds remaining. And we're back. Taylor Schoen missing his 2nd free throw. Bellamy coming down with it. 25 seconds remaining. He takes a long 3-pointer. No good. David Peters rebounds it. And he's being mobbed until finally they call the timeout. And that will be charged to, I think, number 24.
Spring Arbor got what they wanted. They just didn't set it up and get a good look, but they didn't take a lot of time off the clock.
So David Peters going to the line, shooting 2. That foul was charged to number 24, Derek Belote. That was his 2nd. And Peters misses his 1st free throw. 6-point ball game, 17.9 seconds remaining. Here's a replay of the last game, or the last play. And he makes that free throw. And Bellamy, actually Hogan's time comes down, tosses it. Long 3-pointer, no good. Tipped around. Belote gets his own rebound. He gives it to Bellamy, and it is stripped from Bellamy by Troyer.
Troyer just took it out of his hands.
And then Chris Bellamy commits the foul. I think at this point with 5 seconds, I think it is safe to say the Wildcats will walk away with their 4th victory in a row.
And it's going to look like at the end one of those games that is nowhere near as big of a margin as the way it finished up.
At halftime, it was 21-18. Troyer makes his first. Here we see how he stripped the ball from Bellamy, and then Bellamy grabbed onto him, getting charged with the foul. Troyer now with his 2nd free throw. And he makes that as well.
Wildcats socking away a game at the free throw line. Imagine that. Couldn't have predicted that script.
No, but really during the month of January,